Hey there! We finally purchased the greenhouse. I know I've mentioned this in a bunch of other videos. With the help of a few very generous people, we were able to purchase this. So I want to show you guys everything I can about the greenhouse and our plans. Alright, so let's talk about this greenhouse. I want to tell you a little bit about the history of it just because it was a little bit complicated and I was kind of hinting at it in previous videos, but we did acquire the greenhouse and it was a huge thanks to a couple of big donors. You guys know we're a nonprofit here, so a lot of times we need to make big moves and purchases. We need donations and fundraisers and things like that, and our fundraising has really been put on hold with COVID. We're trying to get creative, but there's a couple of big events that we do every year here and we haven't been able to do those as we normally do. Let me talk a little bit about the history of this, and then I'll talk about sort of what we're working with and and the project that we have moving forwards. So this was originally started by two guys, Matt and Chase, and I will be having a video coming out with them shortly about what they're up to now, but they started this after they graduated from NC State, and this was put together I think in 2014, and they were doing this growing hydroponic lettuce and basil in here, and this is what their first sort of endeavor was, and now they've moved on to another facility, and now they're a hemp genetics company. So look out for that video coming out next week, which will be awesome. They're doing some really cool stuff. So this tunnel is a 30-foot by 72-foot double-walled, basically tricked out tunnel, and this was used for hydroponics. So as you guys can see here, it's all gravel in here, which is terrible for me, but you guys know that we are not scared of having some big projects at Raleigh City Farm, and this is going to be a huge project for us. So with that in mind, it's double walled, so there's a blower in between the layers of plastic, and that helps us insulate in the heat and the cold weather. We also have multi-stage cooling in here. There are two fans on the sides, one in the peak there, and these are all separate thermostats so we can stage our cooling. There is also natural gas heater in here, which we might use minimally in the winter time. There's a CO2 burner, which I don't think we're going to use. There's also these ventilation fans. Everything's hardwired in here. And the biggest struggle is going to be dealing with the ground. I'll talk about that in a second, but let me show you some other stuff that's behind the camera. So with all the other cool things in here, we have these louvers at one end, and this is facing south. We have louvers here that have another thermostat on them. This is a cooling wall, so we'll be able to utilize that. And all the timers and electricity and stuff is here. It's all done really well. So besides the big constraint about having gravel on the ground, we also have a big water tank underground here. And the reason for that is this was sort of that sump tank in hydroponic system. So when they put this in, they were doing this, they did a pretty solid job of setting this place up. So there's a big water tank under the ground here. So we're gonna have to figure out how to manage that as well and how to work that into the plan here. All right, so I'm sure a question's gonna come up about hydroponics and all that kind of stuff. And there's a time and place for hydroponics. It is contextual. And personally, I am not very interested in hydroponic growing. And I think in our context here, we have plenty of land to grow in. There's even extra land on the farm we're not even using. So for me, we're gonna be growing in the soil and in the ground. And I'm not saying negative things about hydroponic growing. For me as a farmer, that's something that I'm personally interested in. And I focus on, growing in the ground with living soil. So I just want to address that really quickly because I know those questions like that are gonna be coming up. But as you guys can see, this is a pretty tricked out greenhouse, and it is also a huge project. And what we're gonna be using this for is a combination in-ground growing and a nursery. So right now I've been doing all the nursery starts in my house and then bringing them down here, which doesn't work long-term because I don't have enough capacity for us to plant all the stuff out in the spring that we need to plant out. And also I want to make sure that our interns and volunteers here have the opportunity to learn about nursery work, propagation, greenhouse management, and all those sorts of things. So that's something that we're going to be able to do here, and also hopefully to use it somewhat as an instructional space as well, and have that opportunity to have all those assets of the farm here, from seed starting all the way through field work and washing and packing, so we can do the whole thing here, which is going to be super special. So we haven't quite figured out the design in here, but we are going to split this into in-ground growing and a nursery space. And because we just recently acquired the greenhouse legally, we are now going to start working on that plan. It kind of comes at a tough time for me just because we have new interns on the farm, and I'm sort of you know, taking a lot more time than usual working with them because I have to train them and make sure that they know what's going on. But this is something that I'm going to document for you guys and make sure that you see the progress here. This is a huge project. The goal here is to really get stuff growing in the ground by late fall, early winter is sort of the goal. And we'll probably minimally heat it, as I mentioned, just to keep it above freezing. And so really what the strategy in here is going to be is that we got to get the gravel up in the areas that you know, we're going to be growing in the ground, and we're going to move this gravel into the driveway. So, you know, we don't have to remove it from the property. Our driveway has got some really big ruts in it, and this will really help us with that. And so we don't have to buy gravel or any other material to fill in those spots. But we're going to take out the gravel, we're going to till the ground and mix in some compost, and then we're going to plant some cover crops in here for as long as we can. My biggest two things that we have to you know, work against here are going to be compaction. Obviously this has had gravel on top of the ground for 6 years, so it's almost like concrete underneath here, and also the soil is completely dead. So we have to loosen the soil and bring biology back in the soil. So that is the strategy. We just got some compost delivered, and we are going to, first step, probably within a few weeks hopefully, is to remove some gravel and then break ground and try to get some cover crops growing in here. So just want to share with you guys a little update about this. I know I've been hinting at it, and you know, you guys like the progress and watching us do these projects on the farm. So this is a big project, but it's going to be a huge asset for our farm, and we're super excited to have this as part of Raleigh City Farm and all the stuff we have going on here. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you can see more of it coming out. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Just one last thing, I wanted to let you guys know that there is Raleigh City Farm merchandise available for sale online now, and I will leave a link down below for you guys to check that out. There's hats and a couple other things. Until now, we've only been selling things on the farm during farm stand, but I know some of you guys aren't local and you wanted to pick something up, so now's your chance. And that's it. So, hey, check out these videos.